Welcome to Anewalt's Landscape Contracting. What you're about to see is the transformation of an ordinary backyard into a complete outdoor living space where the family can make a lifetime of memories. Conceived, created, and developed by Anewalt's Landscape Contracting. The change you'll witness in only a few minutes actually took 6 months of intensive work, from conception and planning to completion, and is representative of every type of design and build service offered by Anewalt in one striking setting.
We moved here in January of 2012 with our 3 kids. We have Mikey, who is now 11. We have Molly, who is 9, and we have Brady, who is 6. And we recently got a new puppy, so we are hopefully totally complete and finished. Well, we had used Anewalt on a project at our initial home, and very pleased. In fact, it was one of the reasons we didn't want to leave that house when we moved, because we were very happy with the patio and the retaining wall we had done at that home. So when we started the pool process, we felt so confident in what we had already seen from them. So when we came here, we felt that the project would turn out as well as it did.
The whole idea was we wanted to have a pool, but more than that, I was looking for an area where we would be able to play various sports and hopefully never have to leave home outside of the obvious activities of school activities, team sports, and what have you. But so I think we found that here, but the backyard was very natural. It had a slope to it, and there was lots of unusable space.
We had kids that were getting older and still in grade school, but we wanted to make sure that our kids always kind of stayed at our house and had their friends at our house.
I think Rachel said, well, you know, our kids are the ages that they are, 11, 9, and 7 at this point, and if we wait a couple of years, we're going to miss out on some key years with our kids. And so I did agree with that, and the end result is fabulous, and I think we're going to be able to enjoy it now as opposed to waiting for a couple of years and add memories, family memories, for a longer period of time where we're just going to look back and say, those are the best years of our lives.
The Anewalt's landscape contracting story starts many years ago with a little boy and his grandparents' lawn.
Beginning started with that lawn boy mower back when I was 10 years old. My grandparents were truly the first client, and then there were multiple neighbors, so I would just pursue the neighbors. You know, from a standpoint of when did it become true business, it officially began August of '88.
We have a great crew. 20 employees, can fluctuate depending upon the time of the year. We are big in education, so many of our staff members come to us with different degrees or certifications in the related landscape industry. Could be a certification for how to install pavers, pesticide licenses, etc.
We absolutely encourage professionalism, certification, training. We train on a weekly basis with our employees.
To properly install walls and not have them fail, you have to know what you're doing.
Requires an education.
Eddie's crew is the most professional crew you're going to find. Positive, upbeat, high-quality people. You know, so not only do you have confidence in Eddie Anewalt, the owner, you have confidence in all of his staff as well. You know, from his foreman to, you know, the guys that are just getting dirty. They're all just perfect gentlemen. So it's a real pleasure to work with Anewalt on a day-to-day basis. Even though doing a project and having dirt in and around your house is difficult, Anewalt makes it as painless as possible.
When a customer is interested in a landscaping transformation, what is it that separates Anewalt's from the competition?
Why Anewalt's? The first thing that comes to my mind is growing up in a family business. My father instilled in me that if it's our name that's backing the product, you better make sure it's a very good product. And in this case, it's not a product, but it's a service. And on my shirt, on our trucks, that's my name. And I want to make sure there's quality that backs that name.
So another thing that was impressive with Anewalt is just their word. They said they were going to start as soon as the weather broke. And I think the first week in March, they were in full throttle. And you know, I called Eddie a couple of times to say, hey, are we still good for this deadline of Memorial Day weekend? he always promised me, buddy, order your Speedos. So he was always good for having it, you know, he guaranteed to me that it was going to be done on time. It was absolutely done on time, and he brought in staff as needed to make sure that deadline was met. And you know, it's nice to do business with people who say they're going to do something, and then they do it.
If we say it's going to get done, we're going to get it done. And if we make a mistake, we're going to be there to fix it. We're going to take care of it. That's part of the package that comes along with hiring Anewalts.
The Kuhn project is an example of what can be accomplished by Anewalts. Anewalts takes your ideas and molds them to balance aesthetically, functionally, and structurally.
At Anewalts, what we like to do is we meet with the client who is interested in having a backyard transformation, we'll call it, and that way we know their wants, their needs, their desires. What we strongly suggest to our clients is that they sit down with Eddie and our registered landscape architect and come up with a master plan. If we think about a house for a minute, planning of a house, you have an architectural plan in front of you. You wouldn't just go out with your hammer and your nails and start building a house. You need a design for it. And that's the same way we treat our hardscape projects, our design build projects. Before we get going, we really need to put it on paper to be able to make sure that when we do the backyard, it eventually ties in with the front yard and everything in between, that there's rhyme and reason to it. When you do it in phases, maybe you do the backyard this year or a portion of the backyard this year, part of the front yard next year, it becomes a much less daunting task to be able to look at that. And people get excited about that.
I have clients that religiously, there's a spring project, fall project, next spring, next fall. It's planned out until the entire plan is executed. The Kuhn project started last fall with the idea and concept of a pool in the backyard.
We had talked to a couple pool companies. They were all very professional, you know, made a nice presentation. But ultimately, I felt like to look at the entire project and to look at the entire backyard, we needed more than just a pool company. I felt like we would be best served to put a pool over on the far side, which is furthest from the neighbors, and would give us the most privacy. The problem was, first of all, the property boundary, and secondly, just the lay of the land and usable space and what have you. Thirdly, I think the sun itself, we get more sun exposure where it is now, and so, you know, after doing an analysis of what we had, once we went with Eddie, once we brought Eddie on board, I think we looked at the whole thing, and then we decided it made more sense to put the pool on the outer left side.
We had 4 conceptual plans, and originally the Kuhns thought that the best position of the pool would be to the opposite side of where we put it in. And it was through looking at those 4 plans and letting the Kuhns digest what the options were, ultimately we ended up in the opposite side. And we do find that with other clients, and it's through providing them with options that typically they're making the choice. You know, we're facilitating, but they're driving the bus. So,
you know, it really felt like we were calling the shots, and we were dealing with experts, and we knew whichever of the options that were presented to us were going to turn out beautifully.
The retaining wall was really number 1, which we started back in March. So I looked at that as its own project, its own job. After that, you look at the shell of the pool, and then filling in around the pool, then the pavers, and then the grading, and then the planting, and then the fence. So all of these are components of the project, but all broken down so that we can manage it from a cost standpoint, from a labor standpoint, etc.
It's funny because people say, well, why did you move? And I said, well, we moved because we wanted to have a pool. And they're like, oh, so how is your pool? Is it a big pool? And until this was done, I had to tell them, we don't have a pool. But of course, we knew that we had this idea that we were going to have a pool, and that there was this backyard that was it was here for the making. And I think the end result is Eddie Anewalt and his staff put together an amazing project, and as I like to say, the proof is in the pudding, and it's a gorgeous backyard where we hope to spend many, many years together as a family and with close friends, and we're just thrilled with the entire project.
We use the term staycation, and truly they could have a staycation at their home. There's everything right there for them. Room to grow, room to play, room to explore, to hear the birds, to jump in the pool, to shoot the hoops with mom and dad, and to get back to being family. So it's not only the investment that the value to your property, but also the investment in your family.
There you have it. It is our passion at Anewalt's Landscape Contracting to complement the style of your home or business. Whether you're looking for a warm, peaceful setting for clients or an outdoor living space to start making memories, this could be your backyard or front yard or business or whatever you say. From a simple landscape renovation to a fully realized landscape master plan, Anewalt's Landscape Contracting brings any outdoor vision to life. Anewalt Landscape Contracting, beautifying Pennsylvania 1 yard at a time.